Morning. This is Arnie Waters here at Waters Capital in Boston, Massachusetts. Gold trading a little zigzag pattern, presently up about $3, trading around 17.25, 17.27. We want to point out to you that if you've accumulated over the last couple of weeks, you've made a tidy little profit, and we believe the signs are now setting up for the big gold up move. We're not telling you to throw all in just yet, but we think the signs are looking great. Now, first of all, we spoke to you about this a year ago, and we spoke to you about 6 months ago. The Chinese have about 1.7 trillion dollars worth of loans to its provinces. We have pointed out with you, with some great help from some of our clients, this whole false building boom in China. They built a lot of stuff that doesn't have any use, including hundreds of gigantic malls as big as the Mall of America that are utterly empty. And the provinces have spent all this money on improvements and things that are generally nice things, except there's no money to pay for them. So the Chinese essentially just told the central bank just told the regional banks and lending authorities to roll all that stuff over for another 4 years. Now, obviously, that doesn't solve the problem, but that does point out to you one of our consistent viewpoints, which is the danger in the Chinese economy is great. And we couple that with the political strife, which is going on every day. And we think the Chinese outlook is not nearly so good as other people would have had you believe. So we encourage our clients to be very aware of this factor. Now, of course, any potential dislocation in China is wonderful for the gold market for two reasons. One, shockingly enough, some time ago, in the last 2 years, the Chinese government allowed Chinese people to buy gold. And so Chinese people buying gold has been a big net source of demand. Number two, because of Chinese key role in acting in Europe, and exporting to Europe and dealing with Europeans and North Africans and South Americans, that any significant downdraft in their economy has a huge effect on those countries. And so that's a big factor in our projection of slow to no growth worldwide for the next 2 or 3 years. Now, I'm reminding you, as I was talking with a client yesterday, about how terrific things look for the U.S., not only relatively, but absolutely over the next 2 or 3 or 4 years. I believe there's going to be a real movement to cap the deficit, and I believe there's going to be real positive stuff going on in our economy going forward. Now, the second commentary we want to turn to today has to do with Greece. Now, the Greeks have been acting in their own best interest throughout this process. They're going to continue to do that. They continue to have plans to reinstall the drachma. People are saying, well, this might happen, well, that might happen. Gee, I don't know why the Greeks are going to stop acting in their best interest. Their best interest is to delay, promise, because they don't really have an economy. And now that they've had so many demonstrations and whatnot, their tourist business has fallen off a cliff, so to speak, and that's a main engine of support. The other aspect which we wish to observe is that, as in other southern Mediterranean countries, let us just say that, the religious authorities are intimately interwoven with civil authorities. And the fact that the Metropolitan, I'm just not sure of his main title, or the Patriarch of the Greek Orthodox Church, which, by the way, is the largest landowner, is really arguing very strenuously and using all of his efforts to prevent this austerity thing, gives me some pause. So is it in the best interest of the Greeks to continue their austerity and destroy the future of their kids? Gee, I don't know. And so I think they're going to decide either to string along the Europeans or to stop stringing along the Europeans. I think they're going to string them along as long as possible, which could be months and months and months. And I also believe that a new government elected, if the coalition's not reelected, I think the new government's just going to repudiate all this stuff, and then we're going to be back to square one. You know, how much money are the Germans willing to pay to keep the Greeks in the Euro Union? So remember, please, that as we look out this year, we remain confident in our viewpoint that there will be at least one sovereign debt recall or crisis, and maybe two in Europe. So aim for those ice flows. Stop aiming for the open water, because by the time the boat gets to the ice flow will have moved along, and there will be open water for clear sailing. This is Arnie Waters. Have a great day. Keep swinging.